Expected easier, but we'll see. I mean, they've been surprising people a lot. We're gonna go through the ban phase now. We're gonna find out who's playing where. It looks like, well, Coastline's still in. We've had that before today. Are we going to have a repeat? The answer is yes, it seems. Okay. Interesting. Coastline making it through. So if we take a look at this, this is actually, that's strange that Evil Geniuses decided to ban Villa over Coastline. Coastline is EG's most banned map. In fact, if we look at the record, neither of these teams have played Coastline in the period of January this year to where we are now. So it's been a while since either of these teams have touched this map. It is the most banned map for Coastline, a close second being Villa, although I guess they're tied right now after this ban phase. But yeah, it's just kind of surprising to see it go through. And we will have a repeat from our last match today.
So interesting to see Coastline twice, but it is a frag-heavy map, so I imagine that there will be fireworks, just as there were in the DZ SSG match. I imagine the same will happen against LG and EG. Now, for those of you that are voting, how is this going to shake out? It's surprisingly close, if I'm being honest with you. Oh, the mighty have fallen. EG historically would clean up when it comes to community votes. Not the case here against Luminosity, as it's 50 for EG, 41 for LG. That is a squeaker between these two teams.
Yeah, definitely very surprising vote there, and that is just how close it is. But I understand it. LG hasn't really been doing much recently, but they've been getting close to doing a lot, whereas EG has been drawing a lot of people recently. So let's load into it. Luminosity will be starting on attack. Evil Geniuses will be starting on defense. Once again, this is Coastline, map we just saw played. So, ban phase starting out. Well, we've got no real info to draw on because, again, neither of these teams have played this map recently. In the last couple months, just no one touching this map that's on this that's in this match. So a little bit of it's gonna be different, I guess. Starting off with a Capital ban. We saw how powerful Capital was in the last match where DZ went head to head with SSG. Capital as an operator was very powerful and allowed for a few very unique plays that no other operator allows for. So
frankly, I was a little surprised that Capital actually didn't get banned in the last matchup.
I mean, I was looking at the stats, and there was one Capital ban in recent history for both of them, but it wasn't. I was surprised that he made it through too. I was also surprised that Dokkaebi made it through because it was such a prevalent operator in, I think it was DZ's lineup on attack. And well, here Dokkaebi's gone, so Valkyrie will follow, and you could expect this to be a Mira, Echo, or a Maestro probably.
See, we just got the wrong page of the script. That was it. Valkyrie was banned here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So everyone's playing into the script. It's all working, going according to plan. Thank you, Stuart, the author.
He's not going to want that credit or responsibility.
He actually labeled, and then you signed the script, right?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Kitchen service entrance for Evil Geniuses for the first defense here. No Mira being brought. It'll be 6-picked into a Vigil, so it looks like they're going to be leaning heavily on the roam.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Apologies, I was just adjusting my headphones. One of the things that casting from home, one of the biggest things that I've noticed in terms of a change is just like overall comfort, like having to juggle my own mic, my own headphones, like my own feed and stuff like that is overwhelming.
It's
not easily done for me anymore.
The big thing is that you can't like use hand signals and stuff. So all the pacing is a little bit different. It's like normally when you're casting with your partner, then you use certain hand signals to try and say, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want you to take this or what have you, and you just that doesn't happen anymore. It's very different.
Yeah, we make many erratic hand gestures at each other. Let me be honest with you.
Okay, all right.
What? I was talking like waving, like arm flailing, waving, arm waving, inflatable arm flailing tube men.
We do.
Wacky waving, whatever they're called from.
Yeah, we do that all the time, actually. I forgot. We do that all the time.
Like spaghetti arms.
Yeah, do a lot of spaghetti arms. Spaghetti arms.
Don't make me do another Zoidberg impression though. I'm.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Mine was better. All right, first round here between LG and EG, and they'll pick up the Vigil right away of spades, as it's a stack up. It's a defensive kitchen, but the stack up from the defenders right now is over towards 90.
And yeah, it's what we expected. It's the roam upstairs from Evil Geniuses. They're doing their best to delay this attack for LG. And it's actually working. I mean, no picks for LG as of yet. The aggressive push into VIP, though, will work, though, for Modiga, who gets one kill, looking for the second, knows there's an enemy there. And he misses his shots. Doodle does not. LG take the lead in terms of getting one kill. Sorry, they don't take the lead. There was actually 2 kills already stacked up for EG. There was an engagement elsewhere. And, well, yeah, EG, comfortable with that. Mo is obviously dead, but he did his job. And while LG has a decent chunk of time left, they haven't even controlled, or haven't established control, rather, of the top floor. So that time is going to be put to use on that endeavor. And then at that point, you don't really have enough manpower to fully utilize it.
This is a great, that's a great drone that Jarvis has right now onto the Mozzie, but I don't know if anybody's going to be able to do much with NVK now emerging, possibly pushing over towards the white stairs, as he's a little apprehensive of somebody being in that general area. There isn't anybody there. Jarvis will sit at the double doors, one of the more infamous spots that Jarvis has been at before, the Lamborghini doorway, Michael, and Jarvis will now peel off. This was the spot that NVK was looking at earlier on. He moves towards the main lobby desk and gets gunned down by Doodle, which is going to allow Rexon to get droned on in, but there's somebody sitting inside of Courtyard. It's the Vigil, which will require Rexon to face check. As there goes the cloak, Rexon loses the opportunity against Spades, though it presented itself. He was just a little bit too slow. Rexon's not accustomed to losing those, and with it, the Vigil is just out of there as quickly as he can. The best disappearing act that you could imagine. Here's something that's a little interesting about the rest of this matchup is that Hibana will be unbanned and we'll see her used right on the bathroom wall. Pressure being established, but it's a swing from Young and a cross held by EG as LG cannot gain any ground past the main lobby, and Evil Geniuses will be successful in the very first round.
So it all started upstairs, where Evil Geniuses' roam was very successful. LG unable to get a real grasp on that top floor. And after that, the round was over. Pretty much round done. I mean, Hibana's going to make a difference when it comes to an execution on the main lobby, but really, when you don't have vertical control over a kitchen and you're at the man disadvantage, the odds of you taking that round are slim to none. I mean, we've seen miracle plays in situations like that where the attack will still take that round, but they are far and few between. And the lockout there for EG was as standard as it comes and as routine as it comes. All they had to do is wait it out. All thanks, again, to that roam upstairs. Establishing the lead early and making it so that the manpower was so low, there was no way LG was going to be able to fully utilize that top floor control. Good job to EG. Good start to that round. To go to double bar for the next bomb site.
There's great patience as well showed from Evil Geniuses. They really did not give up a single thing in their fight against LG, at least not more than they needed to. You know, we saw the Vigil of Spades peak when required after he got droned out. He knew the jig was up at that point, and he peaked at the right time against Rexon. And like I said, that's very uncharacteristic of Rexon to lose that. He's usually somebody who's able to do an immense amount of damage, but was very quiet in that very first round. In fact, the only person who really moved the needle at all for Luminosity is Doodle, as you can see. The rest are not on the scoreboard just yet. Spawn peek from Spades, it'll go out over the heads of a member of LG, but there's no damage that's done. He's just going to wait for now. Nobody's giving up a single thing. This is a tense spot for him to be in, as he can get pushed out very easily, especially knowing that there's a lion on the board. Well, he can be stuck. Though the one thing with Vigil is that Vigil's ability, remember, got changed recently, so that when Lion's ability goes off, his EE1D, as long as Vigil's cloak is active, he can actually move freely while the EE1D is in effect, and Vigil will not be spotted.
Rexon and Doodle trying to challenge VIP Hall of Fame. A little bit of damage done to Spades, but not very much, as he had tussled over here. VIP established is clear. That'll be a push into Hall of Fame. They'll have to start working on Master next, where there appear to be 2 roamers for Evil Geniuses, though I'm not sure. Looks about like there's 2. Possibly just the 1. Nope, there's the 2. It's a double setup from Modiga and Spades. Rexon and Doodle have to address this. It's going to take them a long time thanks to the Vigil. They'll spot the Jaeger, at least on the left side of that doorway into Projector. Free Fire should come out there at some point. Vigil using his ability to great effect, he gets in a more aggressive angle, and he might be able to punish someone who peeks the Jaeger. It might be a bait and switch strategy for Evil Geniuses. We'll see if it works out for them. It's gonna get harder as Rexon opens up the VIP wall, though. And it looks like they'll actually just both fall back.
EG is just waiting very patiently inside of VIP, and there goes one of the EE1Ds of Hyena. There's a mark over by the top of luggage, and Jarvis isn't keen to follow up on it. He'll drop instead to Courtyard and maybe catch somebody, but he can't land the shots onto Mo. Lots of damage done, but the Jaeger's carbine will win out. Factor finds Spades, so both teams will lose a single member right back to a 4v4. Time at the moment favoring the defenders, as you still don't have full control above. NVK will creep up, waiting to catch the buck. Great trigger discipline. He knows that there's somebody up there, and he'll make the call. Factor is effectively a dead man walking, as there goes the wall, and he backs up. Still greater patience from NVK, and he finally capitalizes on it in order to take Factor out. Diffuser dropped, and the Mozzie will need to just scoot off as best as he can. Once again, re-engaging. Rexon will find Necrox. The Hibana and Doodle above will fight up against NVK, but Rexon picks up 2 kills for his trouble, 1 from Hyena, and Mo, involved in that earlier skirmish and hurt from it, will now be stopped for but a moment. He's got pings inside of Cool Vibes, as well as Sunrise. He can't do anything for Hyena, who's positioned inside of Sunrise, as there's a crossfire onto Cool Vibes. There's a hectic end to that round, but LG very smartly moving and changing up their strategy, opting to push from Sunrise after they abandon control above, and they will take the round with it.
Interesting round there, for sure. The take upstairs for LG actually was stopped pretty well by NVK. The real kicker there is that LG didn't have enough flank watch, and they weren't thorough enough at clearing the top floor. One or the other was the case. NVK, it's possible, had not at any point actually left the top floor, which is much more likely, in fact. As a Vigil, he's capable of maneuvering like that. But the big thing that I want to stress here, or not as a Vigil, last round he was Mozzie, but anyway, the thing that I want to stress here is the fact that despite EG retaking upstairs, and despite MVK's ability to get that kill on the buck and alleviate that top 4 pressure, the retake, well, not the retake from LG, I guess, the reassertion of dominance on the top 4 was so violent that Evil Genius has lost too many men and too much control that the round was basically over at that point. So EG gambled it all on retaking upstairs. They lost a lot in that endeavor, and well, the gamble didn't pay out. So here we are, 1-1. Bit of a back and forth. Double bar not going to be attempted again just yet by Evil Geniuses. They will go to billiards instead. I think that's probably the right decision after a loss like that to try and figure something new out. I'm curious, was that... It must have been. That's a Goyo shield by Young, deep in the bar of Cocktail. Now that's dangerous because by the A bomb, if you put that yeah, there you go. If you put that shield in that corner and it actually gets detonated by an attacker, any kind of thing, it could be Hibana opens the wall to its left and then suddenly it gets lifelined while Young is playing next to it. Well, then you're probably going to die. There's not a lot of places to run to, so it's a very dangerous use of a shield there. I would have expected it to be just a regular shield, but they didn't bring any of those.
The big fragging map, we talked about utility soak in the SSG DZ matchup, but EG obviously going for something a little bit more ordinary. It might not be for Coastline. As Lycan had pointed out, on a map like Coastline, you don't necessarily need to bring a lot of operators that can chew through or can eat up utility, as the attackers will bring plenty to chew through it. But with a Hibana on the board, you need to make sure that those projectiles are going somewhere. And in this case, you've got Goyo shields. You're going to be dealing with pests, so you're going to be at least starved for information. You've got the Maestro cameras, and you've got the ADSs to contend with as well. EG don't seem too keen on really making that many changes in terms of what they bring to the table. And I mean, that last round wasn't really that close, but for EG, you don't really have to blow anything wide open just yet because it hasn't been failing, you know, as some teams would see and then be prompted to switch something out. So Anywho, we're halfway through the round, and the stack up from EG is largely off-site. We can see that it's mostly an Eastern defense. There's going to be an awful lot of people playing inside of VIP over towards 90, and that will leave the bomb site, which is Hookah, not undefended, but very vulnerable to a quick push, providing EG isn't prepared for it.
Sparks coming out, the nade going to Vase. Let's see if it lands. And nope, it'll be caught by an ADS. So good placement there in the prep phase from Odiga to save one of his teammates from an utter demise. The rush from Vigil will be caught, but lost by Factor. How does NVK win that engagement? The peek downstairs going the way of Evil Geniuses as well. And suddenly, Luminosity find themselves 2 men down. They've done a lot of damage. This is still very winnable. Downstairs control is completely lost, though, for LG, and they'll have to deal with this on a vertical, or rather, a horizontal plane. Rexon gets spades, long angle there. Suddenly, control of Hookah seems well established for the attacking team. Gonna have to turn this into a plant, though, and they haven't gotten control of blue stairs, which is not ideal in a situation like this, let alone the downstairs control that the Evil Geniuses still have. Rexon trying to alleviate that, but it's not going to happen. The long angle denying it. There's not enough time for this kind of play. Blue stairs does not work for Jarvis. In fact, NVK wins that one out, but it doesn't matter. Rexon alone in a corner, trying his best to make something happen, and nothing will. Evil Geniuses win the round. A great hold of downstairs.
That play by NVK is just utter robbery, and I have no idea how you lose that if you're the Buck. I was lost for words at that one. And Factor, I mean, not expecting somebody to be that close, but you gotta imagine that he's kicking himself over that. 2 members of LG just lost their 50-50s right at the start of that execute. You know, you had the EE1D go, the Vigil decides to go for broke. You've got 2 members of Evil Geniuses who decide to reposition, and they run right into the waiting arms of members of EG. You know, you've got the Vigil for one, and you got the Jaeger of Mo for the other. Really unlucky. And honestly, a lot of it doesn't really come down to luck. There's not really a ton of luck in Rainbow Six, but that was really just a lack of luck on LG's side for those first 2 opening picks. What happened after that was more calculated from LG and from EG, but those first 2 picks were just, oh my.
Yeah, I mean, you said it well. It came down to the 50-50s, and that, I guess it's kind of par for the course for some things in Siege. And the really big thing to note there is that LG didn't have enough manpower invested downstairs to actually alleviate that. So the reason why you go in pairs or in trios, if you can, in Siege is because if you lose your 50-50, you got a teammate right next to you, he's going to refrag you. So no opportunity for that for LG downstairs, and EG snowball. Now, we're going to kitchen. This is going to be an interesting one. We're noting that we haven't really made a return to that double bar. Clearly, Evil Geniuses don't want to go there anytime soon. They might if they win this round, who knows? Maybe we'll get the upset penthouse pick. But we didn't get it last match. I was kind of hoping we would. It's always interesting to see.
I'm trying to think back to the last time we saw it. I think it was Rec who ran it. I think. I honestly I can't remember. It's one of those stats where it's just like I wish I had it on hand, but it's so absurdly unlikely. It's such a hard to defend site.
It really is, yeah. And Rec hasn't played Coastline in the last 2 months or so I guess not for them.
NVK took a little bit of damage at the start to what appeared to be a pre-fire from Doodle as he was hunting down the Mozzie through Blue Bar and then through Sunrise as well. You need to be able to take the areas surrounding Kitchen before you can really do much else. That also includes taking above it, which is why Factor is likely going to want to head towards VIP. Lion on Repel of Hyena as he's waiting for the call, but he's just a second and a half too late onto the praying member of Evil Geniuses, who could have been very easily punished as he got too close to that barricade. But LG have now fallen off, and they are all full rotating. Jarvis will get the opening pick of the round halfway through onto NVK, finished off the Mozzie that had been damaged earlier on by Doodle. That's what LG needs to be able to stay in this one, because as we saw in the DZ SSG match, you need to be able to establish an early lead because the tide can turn against you very quickly.
Rexon knows it seems to know he's got somebody pinned in that corner. And it looks like it's going to be a Service Entrance rush. And yes, indeed it is. After the EE1D detonates, the rush in from both sides. Rexon gets one on the entry, looking for the second. He's got to shut down Necrox, who's doing a great job of holding onto the site with those gas canisters. Flash will full flash. And there's the kill from Doodle. That's good teamwork from LG. Spades and Mo now need to retake their own bomb site. From Kitchen is Spades, and he's gone. Now just Mo from the bathroom. Free to find, though. And a crossfire to work with. Not easily workable. Gets one, but can't get any more. LG will take the round off of a well-coordinated and well-timed execution.
There's a perfect cross established by LG there. And one of the things that I think has changed so much in Rainbow Six Siege, and you and I actually spoke about this off broadcast prior to us getting underway, was long gone are the days of a single person carrying the entire team on their back, because the top level teams are so disciplined, they're so patient, and they can trade out so well. Even these two teams, both of whom occupy the lower portion of the NA standings, are still perfectly capable of trading effectively. And we saw it in the E United versus Tempo Storm match as well. The bar in terms of skill of these players has consistently risen to the point now where, while there were only a couple teams who could trade effectively back in 2017, 2018, we're now looking at it being a standard for almost every single team. And LG is hard-pressed to throw the end of that round away, even though it's a 1v3. On a map like Coastline, you're often confined when you try to retake the site. Mo was inside a bathroom. He had to be wary about somebody possibly playing above him. When he emerges from bathroom, he's got to look to service on the right. He's got to look into the nooks and crannies on the left. And he's got to be wary of somebody playing deeper inside of kitchen. And LG were almost impossible for them to throw that away. And they had it under lock. Doesn't matter if there's utility left. All you need are two guns to watch that. And there's no way that Mo, as talented as he is going to make it out alive. Ultimately, I really like the call that LG made. They completely rotated around. This is the second successful attacking round that LG has pulled off, because somebody about midway through the round made the call to completely fall off of the positions they were holding and opt to go for a different strategy. And it's worked both times. EG could not adapt to it.
We'll see what EG does in this round. It's a double bar defense, so they have gone back here. We'll see if they can change what happened last time. So far, it looks like just some skirmishing over by Kitchen. LG needs to clear out the roamers over here so that they don't have to deal with the retake from Kitchen later on. That's a really ill-advised peek from Spades. He will go down to Rexon upstairs. Rexon is happy that he has just gotten gifted, I would say, a kill. And LG has established the lead once again. They're getting that early pressure, and Evil Geniuses are going to be feeling that quite substantially. Well, going after that, which is not good for EG, doesn't bode well. Young will eat a little bit of damage. E1D to possibly secure the kill, but it won't happen. Young, though, won't be winning many gunfights. He's probably got a TCSG-12, which is good for him considering his low HP, because if he can get one hit into somebody before he dies, then he'll at least contribute in terms of damage done.
And if it's not too long range, that TCSG, it does an extraordinary amount of damage. It's going to chunk about, 40, 50, 60 points of HP away, depending on where you hit and how far away you are, like we said. Jarvis is able to capitalize off of NVK being read like a book upstairs in VIP, and Hyena knows that he had a member of EG trapped inside of Courtyard as well. Rexon finds Mo, and EG are now trailing very badly. Necrox with the Alda in hand is capable of engaging a lot of targets and dealing tons and tons of damage, but he's now all on his own. A flawless round in the works for Luminosity as Young is finished off, leaving Necrox against every single member of LG. They're not going to take anything for granted, but a flawless round is now squandered as Rexon falls. He has his back turned, watching a separate angle, but Hyena is there to have his teammates back and say goodbye to Necrox, and say goodbye to any possible lead that EG had, as LG now has their very first lead of the game, up 3-2.
Solid attack round there from Luminosity, but more just, I don't know what exactly was happening for EG on the roam over by Master, but it wasn't the focus for LG. LG's focus was on Billiards and Office, as expected with a double bar defense. If they have Billiards Office, they can then proceed to execute from office while covering from above. And with that coverage from above, LG managed to push in and, well, get enough control to start a plant. They didn't actually need it in the end, but at least start planting that diffuser. I have to say I like the way that LG handled that to some extent. Because what they did is they put Jarvis on 90. Instead of clearing out the entirety of the top floor, they put Jarvis on 90, controlled above the bomb site, then focused all their efforts on hitting the actual, site from the office. That means that they're not focusing all of their resources on clearing the whole top floor. They just recognize that there is someone upstairs, and if they control 90, then they control that player upstairs' ability to influence the take, because he's going to be trapped VIP or in Projector or Master or wherever he happens to be. And that last round, it was VIP, it was MBK. And it would have also had been Spades had Spades not died, in the first, 30 seconds of the round? So I like the read there for LG, the way that they set up to deal with those roamers and then execute onto the site. Some teams will waste a lot of time clearing out the whole top floor. I say waste. Some teams will use a lot of time. Not so for LG. They tried to make it as efficient as possible, and it worked.
I like that LG as well hasn't really swapped anything up. They found a composition that's working. It's a very applicable composition. You've got tons of soft destruction as is needed, and if you could manage to outsmart or thwart the Vigil, the Mozzie, etc., then the Lion can become even stronger. And right now with EG's changes, they're designed to slow down LG. I mean, E1D might not be the most effective if you're running face first into a castle barricade, and when you couple castle alongside the Maestro and the Wamai and the Jaeger, you've got 5 operators that are literally designed to just tear your utility usage apart. And that is going to work very well for EG on paper, but as we say time and time again, these matches aren't played on paper at all. It seems to be a very deep and fortified setup for EG, as they are not holding much map control at all. They have essentially entombed themselves, into the back of both bomb sites, as this is the very final crack at it for EG, with Coastline being a largely attacker-sided affair so far today. We'll see if EG can break that streak by managing to tie it up.
He just placed the Claymore on not cocktail glasses, but shot glasses. That is some awesome siege stuff to see. Necrox will be downed on the floor. That's your Maestro. It means the Evil Eyes will not be able to influence this round in terms of zapping. Push in from Rexon, helped by the Lion E1D. He'll get 1. Finish off the down player. There's still 1 in Billiards, though he doesn't seem to know. Factor's going to contribute as well. Factor gets a 2nd from Repel. It's all on Spades now from Blue Stairs, and he has to get more than just that 1. Do some damage to Rexon to be able to win that gunfight, but he won't be presented with an even one, as the angle's in for Rexon, not for Spades. Luminosity taking another round, and it's looking a little bit like an absolute roll here in this first half.
EG just didn't have an answer for how quickly LG was able to make their plays after establishing some semblance of control. I get it. EG was able to thrive well off of their roam at the start of this matchup, and then eventually LG pivoted, and we're doing a much better job at being able to determine the location of EG's players off site. So what does EG do? They decide to play a little bit more restrained. They play a little bit closer into the site. They don't hold the same level of map control, but by doing so, they trade that map control for operators who excel at just simply soaking up the utility that the attackers bring, so that by the time LG is ready to execute, they're largely utility starved. And it's not a bad idea on paper, but on a map like Coastline, it's super frag heavy. There's so many angles from below and from above that you can pressure teams on that no amount of magnets or Goyo shields are really going to do much if you've got a Buck tearing through the floor, or you've got a Zofia destroying parts of your floor or your ceiling. So I understand what EG was going for. It just ultimately didn't work out for them well at all. And I'd imagine that the frustration from EG is setting in at this point, as it did in the E-United tempo match, with E-United just seemingly not able to really get much going. Right now, Luminosity has a lot of momentum. Rexon in particular is just absolutely pummeling EG almost by himself. If you look at his scoreline, he's got 2 fewer kills than the rest of the team combined. That's mighty impressive, and he had a slow start in those first 2 rounds as well. So as these teams swap over, you can see that even though there's a Wamai being brought and as well a Jaeger, there's lots of deployable shields. So plenty of soaking happening here from LG as well.
I don't get to see a Thatcher all that often, but this match he was not banned.
Attackers have located a bomb.
And a powerful force for sure. Kitchen defense to start for Luminosity. No Goyo being brought. Well, my Jaeger combo seems to be the most prevalent these days. We've noticed that in the last matches and in this one, well, my Jaeger is seemingly the play. Right now, on the attack, that's probably why you see not only a Thatcher, but both an Ashe and a Zofia, as well as a Buck. You have to have all that stock destruction because you can expect half, if not more of it, to just completely disappear to a Wamai or a Jaeger.
We've seen actually a ton of Ashe play today, even on Villa as well. Ashe has seen quite a lot of usage, and we expected her on Coastline. Oh no. This is a perfect opportunity for Spades, but no, he can't beat out Jarvis, who's now once again lined up for a second kill. And that carbine it does so much damage. 2 kills for Jarvis inside of Sunrise, but he doesn't look behind him, and Young is there, a third member of EG to head through Mudroom. Finds LG, and well, with it, back to a 3v3. But what came with it? Well, about a minute and a half off the clock. LG can still continue to hold on, and Sunrise is just on the periphery. It's not an actual part of the bomb site, so you don't need to worry too much.
Evil Geniuses have made decent progress, though. It did cost them. And it's going to be another one of those little stall-outs that we've been seeing periodically here. LG is completely off-site. I think they might, or well, they've got Factor in-site. They might have control of Diffuser or something along those lines, because they're playing so distant here. Gas is not going to deter the Thatcher of Young, who will get the kill there, his second in the round. The retake in from Doodle. He jumps outside and makes it into sight to deny any kind of control. NVK, though, puts this into a 1-on-2. NVK's location known, the mark on the other attacker. Doodle knows where his opponents are, but he's not landing his shots, and that's what matters. The bars are making this real difficult, and Young will get yet another kill. I believe his third for the round. Evil Geniuses entering into Kitchen. A lot of casualties incurred on that entry, but really, I mean, Young stepping up big there.
And Young has been somebody who's received an awful lot of criticism this season for having really lackluster stats. You know, he is a player that is often given extremely thankless roles. He's on hard breach duty more often than not. On defense, he's usually playing your hard-baked anchor, your smoke plays, etc. And is truly, he kind of goes back and forth between being an extremely well-rated player and then one of the most underrated players. It finds that there's the cycle that Young goes through. One of the, I think, the saddest parts of EG, just from a historical perspective, is, you know, this is a team that, while we've had a couple teams and so many teams fall from grace over the last little while, not just become worse teams, shadows of themselves, but fallen quite far, is that, I guess you could say vets like NVK and Necrox and Young, their stats this season have been among the worst that they ever have in their career. And it's, I don't know, just from a casting perspective, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. It's not even bias. It's just, it's kind of sad to see players that are used to being so far at the peak kind of just lose the plot, I guess, and start to really suffer.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, it's about what I think we've all been kind of echoing the same sentiment for, I don't know, about a year now? Maybe a little bit less. No, it's not been that long. Maybe 8 months? It's been a while. I mean, there's a certain point where it becomes kind of sad, and it's not really I think a reflection of the players, rather whatever formula that they happen to be employing at the time, because we all know that they've still got the capacity and the capability. It's just whatever they're doing internally doesn't seem to be working as well as it ought to, or as well as it had in the past. And yeah, no, it's definitely pulls on the heartstrings. I mean, especially for a lot of people who have been longtime fans. Necrox will trade himself out preemptively. As Hyena gets him down, Mo Digga will get Jarvis, who had tried to rotate up the blue stairs, and some very early engagements happening here for both of these teams. Evil Geniuses coming out on top.
It's another kitchen defense for LG, as they seem to want to stick to what they felt worked last time. It's in another similar lineup as well for LG. They didn't change much on attack, and well, they're not really doing anything that different on defense either. Obviously, where they roam is going to be entirely different. And there's Hyena to come on in to the party. He's on white stairs. He'll head down. Plenty of marks going on inside of the site. Young getting the plant off. One mark, and there's the Alda coming in, tearing through! Factor for 3 big kills, and he'll get the diffuser as well. Beautifully played. And Alda just finding every member of EG, and they're all cannon fodder. 5-3 for Luminosity.
Really unfortunate to see there that first kill of the 3 from Factor over by kitchen window, not covering for the cross, not covering his teammates. I'm guessing he was attempting to hold on to the kitchen doorway and try to deny a flank. But if he had been trying to deny a flank, then the last thing he should have done would be push into Factor's line of sight. Happens sometimes, but that is certainly a round that could have easily had been won by Evil Geniuses, handed to Luminosity, and they have got to be very happy about that one. That's for sure. Factor, the star of the show, of course, the Alda, the I guess supporting cast, winning that award. Really impressive stuff for the Alda. Good thing they removed the ACOG, because if he had an ACOG there, he probably wouldn't have been able to maneuver his aim as quickly as he had with the Holo. So it might have cost Factor that round. Now, we're going to Billiards Hookah for the next defense for Luminosity. The kitchen was not the worst site for Luminosity, I'd say. They did win that, but again, that's, an individual performance stepping up. Evil Geniuses did a good job of isolating the site and like starting that plant, I'll say. And it could have easily had been, again, Evil Geniuses round, had one of those players landed a headshot, for example, onto the Maestro or something along those lines. Only one of the 3 actually had his gun pointed at Maestro, and he did not land that headshot.
5 seconds left.
So, up to Hookah they go. Clearly things worked on that last one, but how simplistic a take would it be for us to just simply say, oh, well, it all really fell down to the way that Factor played that one.
I mean, it ultimately did.
I mean, and a lot of it was set up by Factor too. Keep in mind that intel was very likely coming off of his Maestro cam. The only other option would have been a bulletproof cam from Hyena, but I suspect it was a Maestro cam that was giving all of those marks, and we saw all 3 members of EG being lit up in red on our screen. We knew that was something that LG was communicating and coordinating, and yeah, Spades got caught as he was trying to head in. Unfortunate timing on his end. Much of this game has been a bit of a calamity when it comes to timing, but regardless, that was all set up by Factor and him playing so well off of it. After that blunder earlier, it could have been very easy for him to lose motivation. That blunder, of course, being his unfortunate demise at the hands of NVK up close and personal. But he read the situation well, and I mean, he's an operator that is very uniquely situated to be able to take those engagements and do as much damage as he did.
Doodle, a little bit aggressive on Cool Vibes. Oh, what's this? The Bucket just walked into sight. That's Mo Digga. No, rather not the site, but Kitchen trying to hunt down the roamers. And there's going to be 2 for MVK. Mo Digga does not get any kill, but his flank is essential in allowing MVK to get that initial kill. A little bit too hyped there because I got distracted. But the clear of the roamers did work out well for Evil Geniuses, at the very least. They only lost 1 player and half of MVK's HP. I assume that we were just seeing more of the same from Luminosity, because we've been seeing, actually from both teams, just an unprecedented level of aggression when it comes to pushing into sites. Not going for a full roam clear, as we're used to seeing, but rather just taking the opportunity, any kind of avenue, and just pushing in.
EG has decided that their push is now going to come from over towards Aquas, the south side of the building, and that'll be an A take as they are lined up and ready to execute it. Spades is in a great position, hanging on rappel of the double window by Billiards. He can catch somebody as there's the rotate on the left side of the wall that we are looking at. That's Hyena, but what a beautiful shot from Hyena. He picks Spades right off of the window, and now EG might need to pivot yet again. Hyena's still in the same spot. Another member of EG is going to come up to the window. Down goes NVK, gun down inside of Aqua. He'll be sleeping with the fishes. And Hyena is still undeterred on that hookah wall. He can pop up at any moment. Just zapping away at the feet of the Thatcher of Young. Very minimal damage, but still an annoyance, that's for sure, as it appears to be, yes, a rotate from Evil Geniuses. Necrox heading over to the hookah balcony, but he's going to have to tear through that barricade, and his position will be given away as Hyena is distracted, looking very intently. In runs Young, and he gets taken to task by Doodle, and Hyena is there with the very final kill. The Doc inside a hookah, well, is not quite as full of hot air as the room would suggest. LG on match point, ready to put EG out of their misery in quite a hurry.
Well, yeah, it's definitely this is a snowballing Luminosity. They've kind of gotten out of control at this point, as Evil Geniuses appear to be outside of their own heads. That rotation from Necrox was just a desperation rotation. He had no real other option. He could have repelled in, he would have died. He could have gone over to Aqua, then it's a linear take and there's no extra angle to prevent the crossfire for the defenders. So he's like, okay, I'm going to go over to Hookah Balcony. He did it late. He didn't open the door quickly. He didn't actually apply any real pressure before his teammate was forced to push in through Aqua. So, again, the desperation is noticeable. We'll see if it gets stirred up at some point or not, but doesn't seem like it's going to at this point. Luminosity playing a little bit more cohesively, a little bit more in unison, a little bit more as a team. And their control of angles, just as like a baseline, is I think a great example of what I'm talking about. In that last round especially, it really didn't seem like EG was trying to control the angles. It didn't seem like they were aware of what was preventing them from making an Aqua push, and had tools to prevent those issues, like whether that be the Doc playing in Hookah, coming up from behind, going on Hookah Repel, or opening from below, or something. There just weren't any of those counter tools being employed by EG. That's it. They were just going for direct engagements, and they fell victim to crossfires.
So, are we about to witness the very final round here, and some big points on the scoreboard for Luminosity? Once again, they will go for something that I'm assuming is somewhat standard, though they've made some changes. They're going to be running Mira and Pulse this time, but you know how this tends to play out with a Mira on this bomb site with the double bars. We just saw it in the DZ SSG matchup. First pick onto Mo. EG's chances get much worse now as Rexon playing inside a penthouse. He'll get droned out, but he got that first pick. And now a C4 goes out and down goes Spades. That's Factor from below. He has the opening and he tosses up. Very well supported as Rexon, who will manage to drag NVK down at the depths of hell with Factor gunning from below. And Young with 2 minutes left on the clock. Well, aw shucks, Young. This is all but over in a 1v4. Still lots of utility as well for LG. They've likely got one C4 on the board. They've still got mirror windows up. They've still got Maestro cams. And as Young tries to head down Cool Vibe stairs, doesn't look like he even gets a single person with him. That'll be it. All she wrote for Evil Geniuses. Live evil, die evil. LG wins 7-3.
Well, that got out of control quite quickly for Evil Geniuses. Luminosity played their own game, and then eventually they started winning so much that they started playing even more aggressively, and that worked even better. So, not a great match for EG, that's for sure. And again, Luminosity playing their own game. Rexon dropping 14 kills, that's quite substantial, having the premier performance for that match. But I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about that match other than well played to LG for sticking to their guns, playing the way they play, and it working for them.
Yeah, LG was very aggressive right out the gate. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. They stuck with their routine. They stuck with their lineup. They didn't waver. They didn't blink. We see that when teams lose a couple rounds, it's very commonplace for a team to just completely change up. EG did that on defense. They decided to maybe try to slow down LG. They traded, as I noted, they traded map control for more of a soak utility as they buried themselves inside of the site and firmly entrenched themselves. It didn't really work out that well. And it just really was a rough spot for EG to find themselves. And I think when LG went on to defense. What was certainly looking like it was more of an attacker-sided Coastline, it flipped and it just stayed with LG, and it looked like it was more of an LG-sided Coastline. I don't know, as you noted, if EG went here strategically. You mentioned at the very first ban phase for this match that Evil Geniuses don't like playing Coastline. They usually ban it a lot, and they usually play Villa. Villa was their last ban. So I'm kind of wondering the thought process behind it. Maybe EG just thought that they could possibly exploit something from LG here, but ultimately I'm at a loss for words when it comes to the theory behind it.
Yeah, I know it was a weird situation for sure. I mean, to be fair, it's also a map that isn't played very much by LG either. Neither of these teams really played it, like I said, in the last 2 months or so. But it is so frequently banned by EG. That's the big difference. And yeah, it's weird. They decided to go to Coastline instead of Villa, which is their second most banned map. Now, both of those maps are tied for the last few months or so. But I don't know. It was a weird match for sure on the EG side. They got put in a corner in the ban phase, and they played like it in the match. And LG played their game, they played it well, and then that's that. That's the end of that story. They won. They edged out because they were working as a unit. The biggest, like, if I were to give one particular critique to Evil Geniuses, it would probably be their awareness of the angles and their ability to work on that as a team. Because so frequently there would just be one player from Luminosity somewhere that hasn't been thought of or isn't being directly reacted to by Evil Geniuses, who will just have a free and open firing range to pick up kill after kill.
Well, with that said, and then assessment done, we've got an interview ready, so we'll bring up Luminosity on the screen. We haven't had a lot of opportunities to ask them their thoughts on these matches, so it'll be a nice time for us to be able to do so. Ina, how are you doing?
Hello?
Congratulations on your victory
I can't see
today.
you. Can you see me?
I can see you, and I can see some of Doodle as well.
Yep. Doodle's looking mighty fine today.
He looks astonishing, let's put it that way. I don't know if you're going to be able to see me because of the setup that we have, but regardless, congratulations on your victory today. First question is going to be about the map itself. Were you surprised that EG decided to play Coastline?
Surprised? No. I mean, they haven't played in a while, but neither have we, so, I mean, it is what it is. We didn't really think it was going to be Coastline, but it's like it wasn't a surprise or anything.
Now, you held to your pattern on attack and didn't really waver. You saw through the 6 rounds, your lineup remained consistent, even though you had some troubles and some struggles. As somebody who does a lot of calling for Luminosity, what goes through your mind when you start to lose out with your lineup, and when do you eventually say, hey, maybe we should try something different, as EG seemed to do when they started losing? They blew up their composition on defense.
I mean, it's Coastline. Like, it's literally just down to gunfights. If you could do the same thing every time, and it's just a matter of, are your entries winning the gunfights? Are you like playing the mid round, late round right? That's just how it is. There's not too much structure or like countering to be had on Coastline. That's just how we see it anyway.
Now, we haven't had an opportunity to talk to you, by the way, about Jarvis coming onto this team. I'm a big fan of Jarvis. But what has he brought to your squad over the last 2 play days, and since he stepped onto the roster, that's allowed you guys to play as close to the matches as you have? Because even in defeat, you've still managed to keep it mighty close.
So Jar, when he joined, our comms got way, way better. I think like the term is Xbox calls. Like we did have a lot of those. We're a lot like loud. We would drown people out, and sometimes like important calls would get missed. So I think when he joined, he really helped us with that. Everything got a lot more clear. Which like obviously saves time. People know when you say something, people know where he is. So that's like probably the biggest thing. And then obviously Jar's just like a nasty like player. Like you just watch him like play. His aim is crazy.
He did seem to have a very good game today. And the last question that I'm going to ask you is, over the next couple play days, you have an opportunity to continue moving up those scoreboards. You haven't exactly had the same success this season as you did last season. What do you assess now that you've got Jarvis on this squad and you've got 4 play days remaining after today, and you've got a bit of a climb now starting with the 3 points? What do you assess is the biggest thing that your team needs to work on to ensure that you finish as high up that scoreboard as you can?
Our attacks. Just need to get better at attack on most maps. That's really it.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Congratulations. Hopefully we'll get to see you on here for another interview in the future. Anything to say at the tail end of the interview?
Nope. Sounds good. Thank you to all the fans. Everyone have a good night. I know I will.
Take care, Hyena.
You too.